And we are. All right. Hey, good evening, LinkedIn. Dave Wilson of the Ringer Hire Show. Hey, tonight I'm here with Kenny Beasley, located in Lake
Evening.
Jackson, close to Houston, Texas, right?
Right. Just
Close
below
to
Houston.
Houston, Texas. And we're going to talk about Kenny, and we're trying to place him back to work and talk about his skills. But everybody knows it. We'll be right back after this. All right. So how's it going, Kenny?
Oh, pretty good today. Beautiful day outside today.
Right. We're in Texas, and I'm in Pennsylvania, so we're pretty far apart
Yeah.
from each other.
Yeah. It's actually getting a little cooler down here now.
It's about like 18 in the morning here, 18 degrees.
Yeah. Not that cool.
What in Texas? Like, do you get that cold?
No, we've had so far this year we've had down in the lower 50s,
50s.
high 40s.
And you said you came from Louisiana, right?
So no big deal. I'm closer to the coast now, actually.
Yeah, same temperature. I don't even know those places. I see them on a map. That's about it. Everybody, tonight, the reason I always scroll through LinkedIn and I see people looking for work. And when I saw Kenny, I liked his background, and I reached right out to him. And I'll tell you what, that was the fastest. Yes, we had that planned real quick.
Wow.
And I really enjoyed talking with Kenny prior to this. But at this time, I wanted Kenny, if you want to introduce yourself and tell us about your family, hobbies, and then we're going to go right deep diving.
Well, we're kind of a Brady bunch. My wife and I have 6 kids between us, 6 grandkids. And they're actually sprinkled all the way across the whole United States, from Maine to California, literally, and one close to us. So with a couple grandkids there, and we're both motorcycle riders. I was a motorcycle safety instructor over in Louisiana for the state. I actually worked with the state police over there for a while, as an extra thing, as a training to keep people safe as we can on the road. I'm a guitarist and recording engineer. And I actually working with a young fellow down here now that's trying to get his career started. So we're doing some recording, getting little band guys around to do the little tracks that we do, and trying to get this guy going. And I write songs. So if I can get some young person there to kick those off, that's
right.
That's the dream. Okay. And the reality is you got to pay the bills during the time that you're working on the dream. So.
That's true. I want to introduce you to Tuvia. You want to connect with Tuvia. He has a free job board that he'll connect with you also. And Tuvia helps a lot of people. He's in Florida, but he gets jobs throughout everywhere. And he'll show you his job board, and he'll talk about you after we're done here. Now, do you know Kenny? Fritz? Do you know?
Nope, don't know Fritz. Hello, Fritz.
All right. Well, he says, go, Kenny. So, Kenny, what type of work have you been doing? And, tell us about your background.
I have been in the valve business basically my whole career. I've done a few other odd and end things to just try some things, but control valves primarily. And I've done it, the assembly, troubleshooting, going out in the plants, going offshore, anything to do with control valves, applications, selling them, actually all over the world. So
what kind of industry is that? What type of industry?
Petrochemical, beer, sold to beer companies, water bottling companies, refineries, pipelines, anything that has to go through a pipe has got to be controlled by a control valve.
Okay.
So it opens up the whole world. Even bananas, when they bring bananas off the boat, they have to keep them in a nitrogen blanket. So you have regulators to keep the nitrogen there. That's why they turn yellow so fast when you take them home from the store, because you're not circulating. Okay. Little things you learn that are just totally interesting.
What you do?
You got big valves, little valves. I've had river water valves to little bitty sampling valves to the pharmaceutical industry, anything in there, as well as any other type of valve I'm very familiar with as well. I've sold them, applied them, sold them, worked on them, run shops, been a branch manager or manager of shops that have technicians in them that build and sell. We sell the valves, they build them. All the things that go along with running a shop, setting it up, organizing it, doing the continuous improvement where you go in and you say, okay, we're going to build our shop, and then you have to kind of build it to it a little bit and then go, okay, this isn't working, or what is better, and you have to study it. I've had a chance to rearrange 5 or 6 shops and make them better. We work now with 5S where you get the tools on the board.
Yeah.
For the guys, that's the ones that they need to routinely, occasional use closer, and then things you use 2-3 times a year, stored away and tagged and marked. Tagging, identifying, label it, just like a grocery store. The beans go here and the pork chops go there. You don't want to mix the two. Right?
Separate them. I always ask the guys here, and Tuvia and Fritz, please, anybody watching, feel free to ask Kenny a question, and we'll put it up here. Any kind of interview question that you feel, I just tell everybody, ask away, and I'll pop it up there for Kenny.
Right.
Kenny, when I looked at the background, like you said, you have that, project management and so many different things about you, the Six Sigma, and we're going to go into a little bit of that, but I want to learn a little bit about you. And, when you said employee engagement, what do you do to improve in your teams that you've done in employee engagement?
First thing you have to do is really, you have to let the employees in the shop area know that you're responsible for this area. When someone comes to visit, a customer comes to witness test a valve, that's your area. Do you want them to look at it and go, what a pig pen? Or do you want them to go, man, that is the cleanest paint shop I have ever seen. The machines, keep them clean. You have to get your people to own what they're doing and to give them the liberty to own what they're doing as well. That's a big key in it. You don't go out there and say, well, you're going to do this and you're going to do it right here. You just say, this is your area. If I have to work in it, it's my area. That's I'm a very positive leader, and I like for people to embrace what they do and to be proud of it. And if they're not, then let's figure out why. And what is it? What's going on with this right here? Why is your place always just use cleanliness? Why is it always messy? Well, but he cleans it up at the spotless at the end of every day. Okay, maybe that's the way he works. But we want him to work safely throughout the day. Maybe make a couple of stops and get the shavings up in a machine shop or something of that nature.
So you're always improving. You're always improving the area. And the process.
Yeah. And you don't want to touch your product any more times than you have, whether it's whatever it is. And if it's not flowing through the shop well, or whatever, you have to take and look at it and go, okay, they're carrying it back and forth. Why are they doing that? We might need to move a table.
Right.
We might need to move the shipping department to the other side of the building. Whatever it takes to make it to where it comes up. Let's just use a repair. It comes in, it gets identified, the specifications get put in the system, it gets disassembled, they inspect it, all the parts, and then we go, okay, customer, here's the price it's going to take. Get a clearance, order the parts, start putting it back together, but don't touch it any more than you have to touch it.
I can imagine on that part. Ken, what kind of style are you in coaching and mentoring? Like, what's your style when you go in to do like project management, your process improvement? You're hired with a company, like you said, you've done some consulting also.
Yes.
What's your style?
Well, first you have to go in and understand what they're doing, what their end result is, where they start and what their end result is. And then identify the things in the middle by watching what someone, a company or group of people are doing to understand okay, let's just say it's super excellent on the end, but it's a very tortuous path. Why? What is it? And then identify it, get to know the people, let them tell you what it is they do, how they do it, what their logic is behind it. A lot of times I hear, well, our old boss set this up. And it's like, well, was he out here with you every day? No, he wasn't. He just came and said, put the table there, put the trash can here, and it's 16 feet away, so there's a trail of trash. Okay.
Right.
So we say, okay, what's the simplest solution to getting that trash off the floor other than sweeping? Put it next to the table. And then we just converse conversationally with people, get to know the people, understand what they're doing, what they're going through, walk in their boots a little bit, you know.
I like what you
And
said about yourself. You've said the words that I'm listening when you're saying is you haven't even said anything about yourself. It's about them. That's what I like
sure,
what you're saying. Hi, Doris. Doris says, good evening. Hope you find work soon. She's awesome. She's always on. Thanks, Doris.
hi,
But
Doris.
everything that you've said so far, I've never heard you say me, me, me. It's about them listening, and I think that's probably
Yeah,
your biggest success, I would say, probably, right?
I think so because again, if I have to go out and sweep the floor, if the floor needs to be swept, everyone needs to pitch in.
Right.
My hand fits a broom, and we would have what we call turnaround when a plant drops 40, 60, 80, 100, 200 valves, and we
Right.
have X number of days or hours to get them back. When my guys were out there, I would get the broom and go out and clean up behind them when they're in this mix of thick, just, you know, elbows and, going flying. And that speaks. That speaks. I'm not too proud to do that. Now, am I going to sweep the floor every day as a manager trying to run a company and keep everything going? No. But when they
No.
need it, that's what we do. And just make sure that everybody has what they need, be it tooling. Okay, guys, we're working late tonight. We need supper. We'll go get supper. Because every person, every individual in a company, no matter their position, is in sales.
I
And
love it.
our goal is to
Yes.
make money for this company. And you represent that company, whether it's in that shop or on your way at the grocery store, stopping with your logo on the way home. And you represent the company out in public and in private. So just to make people proud of what they do. I had a situation years ago in a shop that I ran. It took 4 weeks to get a valve out, whether it was an 8-inch valve or a 1-inch valve, all the sizes in between.
Right.
Okay, 4 weeks. I got a call one time and a customer needed a valve to ship the next day. And so I went and asked the guys, do we have all the parts to put this together? Yes. I said, well, he wants it to ship the next day. They said, nah, ain't going to happen. I said, okay,
Yeah.
I'll let the customer know. I went and told the customer, we'll do it. I went out and handed them the order and they said, we can't do it. I said, show me. Show me you can't. The next afternoon, they were nailing the crate shut. And the guy that was the lead tech, he said, I never would have believed we did it. I said, I knew you could do it. I had to show him the belief that in himself that he could fight that. I couldn't fight that battle for him.
Right.
And from then on, we got deliveries down to a week standard and 2 to 4 days routinely. And this was raw product. We were taking a dozen things apart and putting them back together. And they took that shop and cleaned it up. I alluded to that a little bit earlier when you and I were talking privately. It was making no money. I knew I wasn't going to have a job if we didn't start making some money. So I got
Right.
on the phones. I started calling people from New York to California during the proper part of the day. And we grew that company to, I think I've actually done the math, 87% over a year and a piece. We increased the revenue of that company.
Yeah, I saw that right on your LinkedIn profile. It's on there, everything that you've accomplished.
Yeah, by just letting someone know you can do it, or challenge them. Show me you can.
So
Nobody wants to say they can't do something when
yeah.
they really can.
I want to introduce you to Bill. He's over in Pittsburgh.
Hey, Bill.
You want to connect, Bill? I've had Bill on my show, and he's a lot into the trades. He's in sales now, but he's done all the trades. And we always talk about, I call them, say the millennials. We talked about it before. What do you say to like a millennial? What do you expect to get into your field that you're doing now? How do you train them? How do you get that education, like the experience that you have? How do you take that and teach it into somebody that's, a millennial? That manufacturing's tough.
Well, to go back to my own age to my own time at that age,
Right.
I literally started in the warehouse. That way you see all the parts and pieces
Right.
that come together with an assembly going out the door. You learn shipping, you learn logistics, you learn freight companies, who to call for what, whether it be a hot shot, a motor freight, international shipment with all the extra paperwork and customs forms and all that. So you learn that, excuse me. And then after a period of time, they may love that job, but they may want, if they have aspirations of going forward, start as a technician, start building the pieces. And then you start painting, you start disassembly on repairs, assembly on new things. Then you learn to test. There's all these steps. With relief valves, it's coded. It's highly coded, and you have to take tests to be able to do certain things, sign off on it that it's correct, and not just a junior person can do it. It takes experience.
That's what I mean. That's
not rushing. And from there, I've gone all the way through all the sales programs, outside sales, management, branch management, running a company, in charge of P&L, in charge of hiring people, bringing people on training, setting up mentorship programs.
That is awesome. Because on here, that's what you said. Like you said, you've done a lot in sales, right? I mean, you said you make calls. We were talking about, it was pretty cool before we were talking about your dream job. And what would be that dream job? I liked how you talked about it.
Was that talking about the recording?
Oh, we got a question from Bill. I just tuned in. What type of work are you talking about, Kenny?
I've done control valves and valves, all kinds of valves, gate valves, globes, all the valves that run anything through a pipe, control that. And whether it's a river valve, an 18 or 16 or 36-inch valve that takes and moves water into an electric plant or out of the electric plant from the cooling, to little bitty tiny micro valves for sampling or pharmaceutical.
That's
all kinds of valves.
That's, I'm sure, intense. But like what I like to, you said, like freight, logistics, budget analysis. You talked about the P&Ls. For those that are listening that don't know, Lean Six Sigma black belt. What's Six Sigma?
It's actually a percentage of correctness. Out of 1 million pieces, you get a 0.6 would be perfect. There's no perfect anything. So when you're qualifying things in quality control, you have both there, Bill. Anything of that nature. You have a measurement and you shoot for the highest percentage of correctness, whether it's canning beans or getting produce to the market that doesn't spoil, or you're doing the pharmaceutical industry. Someone put it to me one time. If there were like 6,000 flights inside O'Hare every day, what's the acceptable amount of plane crash?
So you
got to take this stuff seriously, whether whatever we're doing, you don't want any plane crash. There are no acceptable number of plane crashes out of percentage.
Is it kind of like ISO 9000? Like
it is a bit of that, but what it is it's planning. It's doing the research ahead of time. You lay everything out. You can take it to laying out a city or an expressway or an interchange, the red light. Okay, how many cars do we estimate? You see those guys sitting out there used to, they can count cars, literally put the rubber hose out there and count cars. How many cars? How do we need 3 lanes or 4? You do the research, and then you lay everything out and you look at all the potential plans, and then you execute. And then you check it and make sure it's okay, and you go. And you can apply this to anything. I knew a lady some years back, a state, I won't say what state, was having a horrible time getting their forensics lab tests done. Okay, right. On CSI, that is real. Okay, it was taking them 6 weeks to 3 months to get a blood sample for a crime that was committed. Just say, she got it down to where they could do everything within a week. It took a little while, but you go in, you organize, you find out what the problem is. You go in, you figure out what the bottlenecks are. You can't necessarily eliminate the bottlenecks. You may be able to move them, change them, reroute them, whatever it takes.
Right.
Cool.
Bill says exactly. Oh, he knows. There we go. Swinging wrenches. I mean, I know with ISO, when we started out in the paper industry, everybody was like, "What is this?" The union shop, we were there, and when we took the laminating machines or the paper machines, you had to make graphs, and you would sit there and you actually had to just graph it out. How hard would you think that was? And you had to make that change in the process. After 3 little different things, if you didn't make a change, we had to answer why it's running above, it's mid-range, medium, where you were supposed to be. And I kind of liked ISO 1000. I was ISO 9001 when it first came out, I believe, 9000, and back in the 90s. But it really runs the process. It really changed the industry for us, because you couldn't just sit back and, you had to make an adjustment. There was no, you had to, just put it that way.
The thing with ISO as I learned when I was around when we implemented in a couple of companies, write what you do and do what you write. And where Six Sigma is, okay, there's a problem. A company might hire me as a consultant to go and say, we have a problem. It's taken, use the example I gave before, it's taken 4 weeks to get a valve out of the building. From the time we get the order to the time it ships. Why? Well, we went in and we started figuring out why. And just break it down, understand it, get buy-in from the people to understand. Hey, where's the sledgehammer? I'm about swinging stuff. Where's the sledgehammer? Why is it way in the back? There's a place to hang it right here. And that's another piece that we go into 5S with part of the Six Sigma, the Lean Continuous Improvement. The sledgehammer belongs here. One of the things I did at a previous shop, about, I guess it was about 6 different sets of cleaning tools, sweeping brooms, dust pans, little horsehair brushes, a push broom, a sweep broom that way. We painted them all different colors. We painted a board that color. We put a hanger on it and we hung every single one of those up in the same order in different locations of the shop. So if this was the purple area and there's a purple broom out the back, guys, it belongs there. And you just put everything back where it belongs. And it adds to safety. It adds to productivity. It adds to pride. In my shop, I got all my brooms hung up. Where are yours?
Where's yours?
Off your board.
I love it. Please connect with me. You might be able to help you out, Bill. So
will do. I got your name here. I'll click the button when we leave.
He's awesome. And when you said that, it's so funny. And I told you when I was on site at Home Depot. Well, they started at 5S, and I was just like, every little thing, wear a dustpan, wear your broom. And you didn't really think about it to the way you say that, but you would get almost written up, the employees, because you didn't put it back, because they didn't realize, understand it. Neither did I at first. I just thought I'm military OCD, but it kind of just made the process, because you shouldn't have to go look for something. It's right there. And I think that's where a lot of people miss it.
One of my guys, as we were getting deeper and deeper into this, because you go through and you kind of gut your shop and you go, okay, like I said earlier, all right, we use this tool every day. We use this one occasionally. This one, what do we buy this for? What do we need this for? And then you red tag things that you don't use. You put them on a pallet, put them out of the way. And if you go to that pallet to get it, well, then you re-emphasize it. You reprioritize it. One of my guys, as we were doing this, he says, what do we like in kindergarten? The scissors go here, the colors go here, the erasers go here. He says, we're getting treated like kindergartners. Like, that's a good analogy. Yes. Yeah. That way, when the kindergartners leave the room, the teacher doesn't have to clean up everything by herself. And if you come in here at midnight, to work on a hot valve, because these plants are 24/7, 365.
Right.
They have a relief valve that goes down. Okay. They need it back in 3-4 hours. You come in here and you want a 9/16 wrench, go search for it, or know that it's hanging on that board.
Then it's hanging there. Every step you take, labor. It is, like you just said, like he said, labor attached to it. Kenny, if you had to tell me, like, what type of company are you looking for, in a company, and what type of work, or what are you open to, within that area?
Okay, I know. I'm looking for a manufacturer, particularly, hopefully, in control valves, that I can do something like a regional sales manager. They have channel partners and distributors or people that sell the product, where I'm not necessarily the one going in and out of the plants with them on a daily basis to make the sales, but I'm there to reinforce them because of my knowledge of sales, my knowledge of valves, my knowledge of the processes in refineries and chemical plants and paper mills and such, where I'm their backup, and I work for the company, the manufacturer, to make sure that we have both the need that the customer needs and the channel partners access to those products. And I'm open to travel. I'm open to travel the whole United States. I don't want to be going every day, but at the same time, when I come home, I can do work. I'm in Lake Jackson, Texas. I'm just above a little crowded island in the Gulf of Mexico. So, that's really my goal type job. I've got a few target companies I'm working with to reach out to the people that I know when these positions come open. I've done inside sales. I'll be honest. I hate to be strapped to a desk. It makes me crazy. I didn't say that out loud, did I?
Yeah, right.
It's just the roteness of it is not in my DNA. I like to do different things. I like to see different things, all within the same vein. Stay in my lane, But I'm also open to the challenge. And by saying that, I gave my inside sales team a challenge some years ago. So, okay, we sell these green widgets. That's what we sell, is a green widget and a blue widget. All right. I want you, when a customer calls and says, I want 10 greens and 3 blues, I want you to ask them, hey, what else do you have that you're looking for today? Oh, we need some boxes. Do you have someone to get boxes for you? Hey, get them boxes. We can make money. I took a valve positioner. It's what tells the valve's a dumb thing.
Right.
This is a unit that takes the air at the time, and they're digital now, even they're both air and digital, and it tells the valve what to do. I delivered one to a small valve shop one time. This guy did a little bit of business with us. I walked in, there were like 125 bicycles along the wall at his shop. Like, dude, what do you have here? He says, you won't believe this. He says, I was making delivery for a valve out in a refinery one day, and there was a pile of bicycles there. And he said, he told me, I asked the guy, what's going on here? He says, oh, when we get a flat, we just throw it over there and they buy us a new bicycle. He said, can I have the bikes? And he made like 5 trips out of the plant with bicycles. He started repairing the bicycles, all in the chains, making sure the brakes work, inspecting the bikes, and selling them on a rotation repair basis to that and several other plants. So I look for the need and I fill it. And I believe that's what we're all here for. I'm not one to walk past trash. I'm not one to walk past a buggy in the parking lot. Okay.
Right.
And those are the type of things that make America great, that make us all great, you know.
Oh, that is. I want to introduce you to Darryl to connect with. He's out in Texas and he does the rig workers oil in the oil industry. He's out in there. So Darryl, I wanted to introduce you to Kenny and definitely connect with Darryl.
Hello, Darryl.
Yeah. He's been on the show a lot. He comes on, and a lot of these, I enjoy my friends that come on here, colleagues. A lot of them are really great contacts, and throughout. I wanted to ask you if I like this one question I told you about this book I like is, let me switch roles for you. So when you hire people at your own company, right, what do you generally look for in terms of their backgrounds and experience and overall style? So if you were hiring somebody, what you're looking for, what do you like? What do you look for in a person if you were interviewing them for what you want? Is that makes sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. I look for somebody that doesn't. Let me start with a statement. A lot of people quit looking for a lot of people quit looking for work as soon as they get a job. Right. I want somebody that gives me that feeling that they want to come in. The place I was talking about the 4 weeks earlier. One of the starter job we had was a carpenter. I needed someone to build crates. So I would take guys and I try to find people that worked in a grocery store, a Walmart, a big box store, or something like that, because there's a sense of organization there. So I hired this one fella, and after about 6 months, he came to me and says, look, I work in a valve shop. I never get to touch valves. I'm only building boxes. I said, okay, I'll start training you. We'll get you with every different guy out here, learn what you can learn. Okay. I said, but let me say this, we still got to have boxes. So how can you build this? Well, they were going and measuring each valve every time. I said, look, guys, the size of a 1-inch valve never changes. The size of a 4-inch valve never changes. Go back there and cut you 10 boxes and 2x4s and flats for a 1-inch. Go do 3 or 4 for a 4-inch. We'll build an 8-inch when it comes because they're rare. If you go ahead and start stocking the components to build your crates.
Right.
Oh, that makes sense. I took a table saw, put a sheet of plywood this way and a sheet of plywood that way, so one man can handle a whole sheet of plywood. Once we started stocking that up, he was able to come into the rest of the mix, and he learned everything. This was 30 years ago. He's still working at the same company as one of their specialists on several different products.
It's something how you remember that too,
Yeah, he's one of my success stories.
Yeah.
Fort Worth.
Yep, Fort Worth. Are you far from there?
3 hours in a piece, depending on how many times.
Oh, that's not bad, right?
No.
Bill, I mean, Kenny, what was your favorite position and what role did your boss play in making you successful? And I have a couple more questions, but if you had to pick out one boss that you've worked in your career, even like what made him stand out and help you?
The one where I talked about the 4 weeks, because I went in and it was raw and rough, and there was no facial features to the company. It was just they literally went, if they needed to put a valve together, they would tear 5 or 6 things down and find the internal for this and internal for that and external for that, the different pieces of a valve. If I said the names of the valve for people. And then the guys were taking those non-usable parts and putting them back on the shelf. And I'm like, dude, if it's bad today, it's bad tomorrow. Okay, let's start dumping this stuff out and let's start pre-cutting the seat rings and the plugs. Let's start blasting the bodies and priming them until they're ready. I had constant blasting. I had people taking and marking. There's springs in there with different tensions. Okay,
right.
Mark those, take them out, mark them. Okay, that said, the guy that owned the company allowed me to take this flat rock and carve my Mount Rushmore on it.
Love
okay, it. He just said, "There's your mount. Make it what you need." We didn't have a lot of money, so we made do with a brick and a stick sometime. But we took and we made something that the people that did it, I didn't do it. I had the ideas. I like that kind of stuff. But I taught this crew how to carve out something that was theirs. One short example on it, the technician, the lead tech, I started noticing he was walking all day long to the back and the back and the back. He wasn't hanging, he wasn't goofing off. He was walking and coming back with a part. I'm like, "What are you doing?" He says, "Well, there's every time I build a valve, there's 5 or 6 pieces missing." I'm like, "Why?" I made bills of materials. I gave the foreman the bills of materials that says, "You don't give him anything until it's 100% for him to build." And he said, "I can't." I said, "Well, in that time," I told the technician, "I'm gonna put your table in the middle of the shop." He said, "Well, first off, it's air conditioned in there. It's not in the middle of the shop." So I said, "Then we're gonna do this because you're out here all day walking anyway. Let's at least have you walk shorter different distances."
Do you have to teach somebody? How do you explain that to somebody without being, when you were saying that, I'm envisioning like when you come in to do process improvement, right? And you're feeling the place out. How do you have new people that have been there for years. How do you bring that to their attention, like to show them the improvement without being?
Sometimes it is shock, like that case right there. So we're going to move your workbench to the middle of the shop, out in the heat. We're in South Louisiana, okay? Mosquitoes too, all right? We put him out there. I said, "You give me 2 weeks. If it's not working in 2 weeks, we'll move you back in there and figure out another thing." Because the thing is, we can move the table. After the first week, he came and he sat down in the office. He says, "Kenny, I'm going home. I'm riding my bicycle. I'm riding my skateboard, and I'm jogging." He said, before we did that, I was going home and falling asleep in the bed." He bought it because I had to drag him a little bit. And so what we did, we built the whole shop out in there and turned that other place into a lunchroom.
That's what I mean.
So sometimes you do have to kick and drag it. Sometimes you got to like be passive aggressive and let somebody just, pitch out an idea or a thought and let it start worming in their brain.
I know, in their brain. In your job, I have like 2 more questions for you. In your job, what aspects of your job do you consider the most crucial? Like for your type of work, what is the most crucial part of your experience and job employment, basically?
Having something to show for the effort. If there's just, if you're rowing against the stream and not getting anywhere, you're still looking at the same part of the bank after hours and hours, that you're not getting it. You need to pull the canoe out and walk up the bank. And that is, you can apply that to anything. If we're not seeing monetary growth, productivity growth, safety improvement, quality improvement, we're not making headway. We need to back up, reevaluate, and go back in. And also, if it's a multi-location thing, what works for you? How did you get there? Well, here's what we did. We actually were showcased last year in the shop I was in as having the best 5S. We had the most identified, marked, labeled, organized shop in the system. So that's something to be proud of.
And that's you. I know we talked before, but you're a big safety person too. You really believe in getting the job done safely.
Absolutely.
That's one thing that we talked about that you said that you really, you take seriously. I mean, you have to in that type of industry and manufacturing. Wow. You could really have some serious injuries in manufacturing.
Yes,
that is a fact. Versus logistics, you got your forklifts and everything about the hazard, but manufacturing, wow, I'll tell you what, I can't even go there. I can think so many incidents that happened, you know.
Don't jinx anybody.
Yeah, and you're not doing the process. You did something wrong. And
Right.
that's why I try to tell everybody now when I see something for safety too. I'm like, listen, are you serious? I'll confront the person. Are you serious? You just did that? Do you realize what can happen? And I think that's where experience comes in, you know, because you've seen the injuries, you've seen all that. And imagine in process improvement, you got to be looking at that type of safety for that, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Anytime you can make something safer by using a tool, you do it.
For that.
Even if we have to create the tool or special order the tool, and with machinists, I know machinists that can make anything.
And I loved paper industry. I loved it. You know, I got one more question for you. What kind of mentoring and training style do you have? Like, so when you take somebody under your wing, kind of young, I shouldn't say younger, but let's just millennial again. How do you show interest them into the work that you're doing now, if that makes sense? Like, how do you teach them your experience? Because you talked about mentoring. You talked about mentoring.
Challenge.
Yeah.
Challenge is I think the thing you have to do. Years ago, I worked with a young lady that was our receptionist. Now, this was before we had email. Okay, I'm dating myself.
Oh,
all right. True. What we did when we had a quote over X dollar value, she went to the word processor. She filled in the price, the customer name, and the ancillary details.
Right.
And then she gave it to the outside salesman. He delivered it. She reached over and she picked up a novel and she sat there and read for probably 30 hours a week. Hello on the phone. She and her husband love to fish, and there was one particular customer we had that loved to fish. They love to talk. Anybody that fishes loves to talk about fishing, right? So I hear her. Our offices are open. There's a wall, but it's open. I hear her talk to this man. Pete. Fish, bait, 20 minutes. She passed me the phone for a $15 gasket. I said, that's it. That's it. In that time you talked to him, you could have taken the part. He had the part number.
Right.
You could have taken that order and done it. I had piles of orders. I think I had 60 to 80 orders and quotes to do. I said, all right, ma'am, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to stay late tonight. I'm going to organize this stuff. Your chair is coming in here beside me tomorrow. I'm going to show you how to start from stem to stern, and we're going to get you, there was an empty office behind me. We're going to get you in that office doing what I'm doing, and we're going to put another person in the receptionist desk.
Right.
3 months. 3 months later, she got a raise. She got the job. She was doing great because people love to talk to her. They love to come by and visit and chat with her. She's very personal. A year and a piece later, the guy that owned the company came to me and said, I just want to let you know she's leaving us. So what? He said another company offered her $8,000 a year raise to go with them. Grow.
I love it.
So there's how I mentor. I challenge people, and sometimes it's part of selfishness to take a load off. Sometimes it's to get them into the stream of working with everybody else. And there's all kind of other things you have to do when you work with people.
It is.
You have to know where their head is sometimes.
You said it right. And, you know, for everybody out there, again, you know, Kenny's located over in Lake Jackson, near Houston area, and branch manager, regional sales manager, area sales manager, product management. You know, you got a lot of experience, and I liked having them on the show to try to assist to find that next job. And everybody knows me that I love video. I believe that from watching Kenny tonight, I've gotten to know you pretty well already. And, you know, we talked a half hour before. Yeah, we'll talk right afterwards here. And to come on here like this, and you're not just a piece of paper. You know, when it comes to experience, I try to tell people, listen, knowledge is great. Like we talked about, like, you know, coming out of college, you know things. Trust me, it's newer technology maybe. But I still believe you need that experience plus that new knowledge. Because somebody's millennial could teach you something just as you're going to teach them. You know, and I've used that concept too, because when somebody gives me an idea, I'm always like, I don't say no right away anymore. I try to stop and think, do they have a point? Maybe, you know, I'll sit back. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not. But I like how you said that, to mentor them and, show them. You're all about visualization. I can tell. Like
I do. Yeah.
I can tell that's what you like to do. But I always like to give the end here is just, Kenny, what kind of job are you looking for? What area again, and what you're looking for? A dream job, like you said.
It's something like a regional sales manager where there's travel involved. I'm open to travel. I'm able to travel. Put it that way. I'm not constricted to go out and take a product that needs more promotion. I prefer to work with the channel partners or distributors and help them to maintain their needs. What are their needs? What are the problems they see? How can we solve them? Or taking a valve shop and taking care of the people there. And with something you said about learning from different people, I'm a guitar player. I have never sat down with a guitar player of any level, above me, below me, that I didn't walk away with something from them. Whether it's a young kid, I've seen young kids do stuff, I've learned from them. I've had old guys that played the bluegrass circuits, I've sat down with them and learned from them. And it's an exchange, and life should be that way. Don't just forget work, but life should be that way. It should be an exchange of learning and feelings and things that we do. That's how I feel about things.
You're perfect on video, man. You're like so relaxed. You've had to have done this.
I'm good.
Yeah, that's really good. So I appreciate everybody, and please, if definitely connect with Kenny. He's right on LinkedIn. Reach out. I'm going to tag him in the post right after this. We're going to put the YouTube link up and any kind of areas, And I wish Kenny, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and your family.
You too.
We got a long couple days coming up, and but I'm going to talk to you right after this. And everybody,
thank you, everybody.
Thank you, and let's end it with this one here.